Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Christian Recorder Dialogues, where we are interviewing our newly elected general officers from the 2024 General Conference. With me, I have my new colleague. He still has the general officer sheen on him. The certificate still has the ink drying on it. The Reverend Dr. Brian Blackwell. Welcome to the Christian Recorder Dialogues.
Thank you, Dr. Simon.
And we are excited for your leadership in the Department of Retirement Services.
Thank you very much.
So let's go on and dig into talking about this. So first and foremost, you are the Reverend Dr. Brian Blackwell. So let's talk about your journey of faith in the AME Church. So, how did you grow up in the AME Church, and what has been your experience with the church?
Well, I grew up Baptist.
Oh.
I started off Baptist. My parents put me in Catholic school. And so as part of going to Catholic school, they said you can get a discount if you were Catholic. And so I was like, okay. So we got about 20% off for being Catholic. I kept going to Baptist church. And then I met my wife while I was in college. And then we decided to get married. Went to Big Bethel AME Church, which is the church that she was attending at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny story. We are going to marriage counseling, and I come downstairs into the fellowship hall, and I see someone sweeping up, and I asked them, I was like, well, where's the pastor? We're having marriage counseling. And it turned out it was now Bishop James Davis. And he was like, well, I'm doing the counseling. And I had just had a different experience with pastors.
Wow,
I was used to them being more worshiped and
Mm-hmm.
never lifting a finger to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met him and I saw that he was actually working and cleaning up and always involved in everything, I knew then that I could accept my calling and not turn into the kind of person that I didn't want to be.
Interesting. So he literally showed up to work. And as an aside, I was at Big Bethel too towards the end of Bishop Davis's era. I was at Morehouse from 2000 2004. So I've talked with Dr. Tyler recently, and he said that his conversion experience and his experience to the calling in Christian ministry were simultaneous. So for you, when did you know that you were called to the ministry versus accepting it within the AME Church?
Well, I knew I was called when I was about 12.
Mm-hmm.
I got a calling and God said, I want you to minister to my people. I didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that opportunity, became a peer counselor in high school, just talking with people my own age, listening to their problems and just trying to help them out. It became a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
People were dumping all of their stuff on me, and I just didn't have a good, healthy
Mm-hmm.
outlet. And so I kind of walked away from it. Fast forward 2003, I was in law school at University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and I had a bunch of bills that were piling up on me. I had ran away from my bills. I ran away from my bills. I went into law school, but they still could find me. And it was just one day. I was a C student in law school. Bills are piling up. It was to the point where I had to unplug the phone so that I wasn't getting any more bill collector calls. And that night, God spoke to me in such a way to say, I had to get you away from your level of comfort in order for you to hear what I have for you. And if you do what I ask you to do, then you won't ever find yourself in this position ever again. I want you to be a pastor. I want you to minister to people. I want you to help those in need. And I left the next day. I left Alabama. I started to pack up my apartment. I went back, was able to get the same job that I had before. And I accepted my call to ministry on Bishop Davis's last day as the pastor of Big Bethel AME Church.
What? So I was there when you did that.
You were there then.
I was there.
You were there.
Wow. I was there. Huh. Interesting. So we fast forward. So tell us a bit about your pastoral experiences, your experiences in the ministry that led you to this point.
Well, I've been in Alabama pastoring the whole time, back in 2008. And Bishop Davis brought me over from Georgia. I started off at St. Luke in Birmingham, and it was a higher level church than generally someone kind of starts in, but the church had just gone through a split. And so it was a bit of a challenge, but it gave me an opportunity to do some kind of urban ministry. Was there for 4 years. After that, I went to St. Paul AME Church in Lynette, which is right on the border between Alabama and Georgia. Much smaller church, surrounded by 20 Baptist churches within a 2-mile radius.
Wow.
And it was just smack dab in the middle of a neighborhood. So it was house, 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 church, house, house, house. It was a very interesting experience, but I appreciated the experience because it gave me the opportunity to minister to a much smaller congregation. I knew everyone. I visited their houses. I knew all of the persons in their family, and it gave me an opportunity to be in a much smaller town. So a small town pastor can have actually a larger impact on the things that happen in the area. From then, I went to St. Mark in the Garyton community. It is actually a suburb of Hurtsboro, which is only 600 people. But
They have a suburb of 600?
A suburb of Hurtsboro. The interesting part about this church is that it was on a former slave plantation.
Wow.
And and the most interesting thing is that the house that used to be the big house was still down the street. And so it was just very interesting to see how things have evolved, but some things still remain. Everyone was related on both sides. So most of them were double kin, mother's and father's side. And it was an interesting time because, as I mentioned, when everyone's related, they have their own family issues and you have to know when to step in and when to step out. But it was a good opportunity for me, learning how to deal with people and learning how to navigate the problems that I was going to ultimately come into. And then I was appointed to St. Paul AME Church in Birmingham, where I've been for the last 7 years. I had experience doing urban ministry, and so this gave me an opportunity to do it on a broader basis. I had opportunities to start a 501c3, and we were able to purchase property and do various things, start a lot of feeding ministries, and do some meaningful things in our community and be involved in the goings on of the city. And so that's really been my journey. I've enjoyed it. I love being a pastor. I love working with people. I love all of the nitty gritty in and out stuff. I actually love the administration part too. Where it may seem tedious, I actually enjoy it.
And that's going to lead me to my next question. So, the call to the ministry is something that we kind of understand and that people can understand, but one doesn't enter the ministry saying, I'm called to be I'm called to be the director of retirement services. So when did you decide that you were called to this office? When did you decide that this was the place that God was calling you to serve his people?
Well, I had an inkling, and it was really just because I wanted to help. I saw that there were some struggles in the department, in some of the administration, and in some of the analytical things. There were some things that we actually needed to do ourselves, some reports and some calculations, and I offered myself up to be able to help. And sometimes you have to get all the way inside in order to help. And honestly, that wasn't my intention initially. It was to just kind of be more of a, hey, let me do this quick report for you. Hey, let me help you out with this. It turned in on the very last day that you could declare intent. That was when I prayed and God said, do this. I got you. It's going to be okay regardless. And I talked to my wife and she said, let's do it. And so we jumped in and offered myself to try to get the department to a different level of accountability, of transparency, and just trying to use all of my skills in order to try to help people restore confidence in our ability to do the simple things well, and even to do the complicated things with forethought and with excellence.
Wow. So, we've come to know you by your nickname, The Brain. And so I know that you come with a unique, some skill sets beyond the pulpit. Can you talk about some of those skill sets that you have that make you uniquely qualified to do this ministry?
Well, I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University, School of Business and Industry. I have worked as an internal auditor. And as an internal auditor, you look at processes and you look at gaps in processes. You look at creating controls in order to try to prevent fraud or prevent misstatements. I've worked as a senior financial analyst, a senior financial analyst, dealing with large data sets and doing calculations, doing analysis, and then as part of that, taking complicated financial data and creating a narrative about it to be able to explain to management. They don't need to know all of the nitty gritty. They just want to know why were sales up, why is our net income, and to be able to explain that in a very, I don't want to say pedestrian, but to be able to bring it into a level that everyone can understand, taking complex data and creating a simple narrative. And then after that, I actually worked in customer service with a company for 6 years, answering the phone every day. Wow. And dealing with customers who were upset about various things and being an active listener and trying to understand what the root cause of the issue is and how we can fix it. And so I bring all of that, trying to work in the Department of Retirement Services, trying to use analytical skills, customer service skills, and people skills in order to try to help us get to a place where we are able to talk to one another and we're able to deal with problems and not ignore them.
Wow. So speaking of dealing with problems, I remember the look on your face after you were elected and we came right back to the General Conference and you were like, I haven't even been installed yet. And you were dealing with the problems that we were doing with the retirement services. So, we're a few months away from General Conference and we are recording this at the seat of our first General Board meeting after our second General Board meeting, the third General Board meeting for General Conference, but the first one in person. So over these last few months, what have you learned? What are some of the things that you've seen in your time on the job?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that people want to be heard. They want to know that someone is going to answer their phone call, someone is going to respond to their email, and someone is going to take their situation seriously. One of the worst things that we can do is to ignore people's requests because it's inconvenient or because we're concerned that they're going to yell at us or that they're going to be upset. In most cases, they are going to be upset and they have a right to be upset. But what I've learned is that by dealing with the problems, dealing with the situations, working to try to find a constructive solution, by the end of those, whether it's a phone call or email exchange, the people weren't upset anymore. They were at a place where, and for legal reasons, there were reasons that they weren't getting any information. Nobody's talking, nobody's saying anything. And just after General Conference, we finally got to a place where I think the legal process got to a point where we could start discussing things. And so it has made things somewhat easier because there are some things that we've been able to share. But the biggest thing is just dealing with people, dealing with problems, and not letting them overwhelm you or make you hide.
So now you're in a unique position because I know one of the things that we said at the General Conference, one of the parts of the settlement is that we are to wind down the Department of Retirement Services. But we've also started a ad hoc committee to look at repurposing the department as the Department of, I believe, Ministerial Benefits or something to that nature. So what's your vision for this department? When you come to the General Conference in 2028, what message do you want to bring?
I would like this department, or at least the resources that this department currently uses, to be used to support local churches and Episcopal districts. I would like those resources to be used in some way, almost like a department of not just ministerial support, but institutional support. And one of the things that I was thinking about doing is I've been part of forming and filing forms for 3 different 501c3s. And one of the things that I would like to do is to be able to pull together our resources that we have internally within our denomination and using my own expertise to help local churches, the ones who have the ability, the ones who have the desire, but may just not have the money or don't have the know-how, to be able to create their own, to fund the programs that they want to fund, to help them file the paperwork, to help them actually find funding, find grants, find different things to be able to do those things, to provide not just the support to do that, but then the support on the back end, helping them file their tax forms, helping them to create a financial system that even if maybe even Excel based, something that everyone, as long as you can have a Microsoft product, or even you can use Google Sheets or something that every church can have a financial system where they can report out to their congregation, a financial system where they can report the goings on of their church, that they can report the goings on of their 501c3, and hopefully so that the things that have happened on the connectional level with the department, that we can put procedures and processes and tools in place at the local church so that they can report out to their congregations, so that their congregations know what's going on. We know with our department, we didn't really know what was going on.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up that piece about helping churches to look at these 501c3s and these initiatives, because I remember the department when it was smushed together a few quadrennia ago, when minimum salary and pensions were merged. The minimum salary department, one of the best things they had going for them was the stewardship program. And when that department was merged with pensions to create what would be now become retirement services, I know we kind of lost that piece. And I know that it's a piece that has tried to be reinvigorated. And it's refreshing to see that one of the things that you want to do is, you know, help churches understand what it means to apply for grants, what it means to do these things, to help them and be a resource for them, which is something that we are missing in our structure. And I saw in one of the emails that the General Secretary sends out, I saw about the EAP program. And we were having a discussion before we started recording about the fact that the AME Church does have access to an EAP program, and about, you know, so can you talk a little bit about, you know, I know there've been some persons who are saying, why are we paying for insurance? Why are we doing this? And we talked about why you need to still pay for those insurance benefits. So can you do a little bit of education? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but talk about the importance of paying the insurance and our EAP program.
Sure. One of the benefits with the insurance program that we have is a group policy through Principal Life. But one of the benefits that we have is we have an EAP program through Magellan Health. And the EAP program allows for all of the persons who are enrolled in the insurance plan that not only do you get a death benefit, but you also get access to a financial advisor if you need one. You can talk to a therapist. You can talk to someone if you're just struggling with whatever issues. It's all anonymous. The bishop isn't going to know. Your pastor isn't going to know. Your presiding elder isn't going to know. And the life insurance has so many other benefits other than just being a death benefit. If you've ever been to a therapist, you understand how much it can cost on an hourly basis, which is more than what our premium is on a 6-month basis. So the EAP is a benefit that is already part of our life insurance program. And it is something that I believe, as many of us are struggling with mental health, we're struggling with emotional problems, we're struggling with a lot of things, some of which as a result of the election and how things may or may not go, to have an outlet, to have professionals that you can talk to. One of the things that I have learned as a pastor is I have to know when to outsource, when to refer. There is a pastoral counseling piece, and then there is a counseling piece. And many times we need a counselor. We need a real counselor, a real therapist that can help us, give us the space to deal with our problems. And so the EAP allows for us to have that. And it allows, as I mentioned before, it allows for that anonymity, that you can actually say what you're really feeling and what you're really going through, and not what sounds good. And, you know, as church people, sometimes we don't like to talk about what we're really feeling. We want to talk about how we should be feeling. And so the added benefit, I believe, is a help for all of us, and potentially in particular for clergy, as we deal with burnout, as we deal with many other issues. It is always healthy to have an outlet and it's a resource that is already available for us.
So again, if you're watching this and you're a clergy person or you're AME staff participating or eligible to participate in the insurance plan, we encourage you to continue to pay those premiums, because we have an employee assistance program that will allow you access to benefits. And we, Lord knows, you need Jesus and a therapist, so we can help you. So, we've talked about the department, this awesome task you've had. And, I didn't envy you at General Conference, because the minute you got elected, you had to go work. But, there's more to you than just, this office and what you've been called to do. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and just, what you like to do.
Well, I am well married, as they say. My wife, Lenita, she is an attorney. She's a CPA. She is just a wonderful, wonderful person, my best friend. And I have one daughter, Angelica, who is 17 years old right now, looking at various colleges to attend. I love college football. I'm wearing my University of Michigan.
I see you got that blue tie on.
Yeah.
But it is good to see you wear blue, though. So you can wear that. You can wear that today. It's good to see you wear blue. But y'all had a good. See what happened.
Yeah. We had a tough year this year, but we won the game that mattered. But I love college football. I love bowling. I love. I'm a very technical person, I like fixing things. So I fix computers. I fiddle with computers and various other gadgets when I get a chance. I like to take something and fix it, take something and upgrade it. And I found it's a stress reliever for me.
Well, it looks like you decided to you were led by the Lord to take on a department and help fix it and upgrade it. So look at God. You're like, no, I didn't ask for that.
I didn't ask for all of that.
but seriously, and I know your wife was Dr. Champion's niece. She's Dr. Champion's niece, right?
That's correct.
So George Lovelace Champion, one of our great evangelists and preachers. And so it's good to see that his legacy carry on through his daughter, through his niece, and through you. So it's exciting to see you here on the bench of general officers. Well, you have a lot of work to do, and we are here at a general board as we are taping this. But do you have any final last words for? What's your favorite book? What's your favorite book?
I probably shouldn't say this. I know I shouldn't say this. My favorite book is The Godfather.
I just made one of my friends watch the movie, and I've read The Godfather. I had to read it in Spanish because I was in the Dominican Republic. It's all they have. But the book is so it ain't the movie, but it's not the movie. But it's definitely. I was told by one bishop who shall remain nameless that to understand the AME Church, you need to read the Bible and the discipline, and you should probably read or watch The Godfather. Now, I don't know how true that is. But let's just say that that bishop wasn't exactly wrong. So okay, all right.
Yeah, it's a very well crafted story.
Oh yes, it's beautiful, and just the narrative and the characters and the depth and how it is a phenomenal work of literature. So that's cool. And the book is different than the film, so I'm glad that you love the book. Good. So, any final words for our listeners as we're getting to know you and the good work you're doing? And again, we thank you for taking on this awesome task to help restore the confidence and restore, period, those of us who have been affected by this crisis.
Well, Dr. Thomas, first I want to thank you for taking this opportunity to allow for me to introduce myself to a lot of persons who don't know me. I would like to say that this is a monumental task. I take it on with humility, but I also take it on with seriousness. I'm a serious person. I work hard. I am an analytical thinker, and my job is to work as hard as I can and use all the resources at my disposal to make this whole process better and to make it work better for the participants. And so I want everyone to know that I am working hard, and we are working hard to answer phone calls, to respond to emails, to provide the things that everyone needs in order to feel comfortable about the direction of where things are moving. Nothing happens overnight, but please know that we are working to move forward every single day.
Amen. Well, we thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Christian Recorder Dialogues.